How's everyone? My name is Jake and I'm here to announce that the Foam Battalion event Foam and Fortune is returning once again with the aptly named Foam and Fortune 2 coming January 11th, 2025. Now this isn't much of an announcement video because I actually announced it quite a while ago, but I was busy making 3 videos in 1 month with Thanksgiving and also my birthday, so sorry this is late. But yes, we now have a confirmed date for the next Foam and Fortune event. That is January 11th, 2025 from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. with check-in starting at 11:30 and the first game hopefully starting at around 12:15. There will also be a lunch break from 2:30 to 3:30 and this will be taking place at the same location as the first, Manzanita Heights Park at 431 Mesa Verde Avenue, Palmdale, California, zip code 93551. Fast! It's future Jake. I don't know when I'm gonna put this in the video, but it's gonna be earlier on. It's one thing I forgot to mention, and one thing that I do mention, but I want to mention it earlier. First off, we are doing a giveaway. You may remember him from the first Foam and Fortune event, but James Del Mardo is going to be giving away his X-Shot long shot. I believe it does have some work done to it, but it is overall stock and is ready to be upgraded. So he is giving it away, and entry is simple. You just show up and we put your name on a ticket. The ticket goes into a bucket. We'll pick during lunchtime, and if your name gets pulled, you get a free long shot. I forget exactly what it was James said about it, but it was something along the lines of it just becoming an absolute eyesore for him, and he doesn't want to put money into something that he doesn't like the aesthetic of. So he's really trying to get rid of it, and it is greatly appreciated for him to give it up for this giveaway. So if you show up to Foam and Fortune, you may be the new owner of an X-Shot long shot. And aside from that, we are doing an RSVP form this year. Last year, I went into the event blindly with no idea of how many people were going to show up. So this year, I want to try to circumvent that. That's a big word. Hopefully I used it right. But I want to try to avoid that issue with an RSVP form. So if you are planning on showing up, I highly, highly suggest that you fill up that RSVP form because it helps me out a lot. You are not going to be necessarily denied entry into the event if you don't fill it out, but it would greatly help us, and it is preferred that you do fill it out because it helps us and because it lets us know what we need to prepare ourselves for. But that's all Future Jake has to say, so let's get back to the rest of the video. And just like the first Foam and Fortune, this one will also be free to play. And this time around, to try to switch up the gameplay from the first, I'm going to be providing a few goodies. At Foam and Fortune 2, we will be providing Mega Darts, Mega Blasters, Melee, and Shields. Now that's all going to be in limited quantities, so I do implore you to bring your own if you're interested in running such things, but it will be there available if you decide to run it just in the moment. If you are planning to run Mega Blasters or Shields or Melee, I highly suggest that you read the event details linked down below and read up on the specific Shield and Melee user information. We'll go over it here in this video as well as the ammo rules and blast restrictions, but just to quickly go over the general rules and the safety rules, it really has not changed all that much from the first video, so if you want to hear about that, I suggest you go watch that video, and if not, then these are a few of the big main points. First off, eye protection is required. If you do not have eye protection, then you will be asked to leave, and hopefully we will actually have some eye protection to provide if you show up empty-handed. The second thing to remember, which is just as important as no eye pro, is that this is a 150 FPS cap. If your blaster hits over that, you will not be allowed to use it. And just to specify, because some clubs define it differently, for us a tag is anywhere on the body, on your blaster, or on your gear. Then there's the usual no all black painted blasters, no full decked out camo clothing. And on the topic of clothing, if you do see someone there with a yellow bandana, that means that they are a moderator. Now I don't have my yellow bandana on me, but I'm gonna assume you know what the color yellow looks like. If someone is wearing a yellow bandana, they are a moderator, and if there is any dispute or problem, you can come to them and they will settle it. They have final say on whatever issues there may be. As for who to look for specifically, that would be me, my girlfriend Bianca, and Lorenzo. That's some of the stuff that I feel is most important, but again, I do implore you to read up on the entire document so that you can be educated when you show up and you don't accidentally end up breaking a rule and possibly even end up being asked to leave the event. So now we're going to get into the specific Shield and Melee rules. Now they actually did change a little bit from last year, but no one ran Shield or Melee, so it doesn't really matter. But here are the general rules for those who want to use Shields or Melee. Tap fighting is the limit of play. There should be no excessive hitting, no overhead strikes, crotch taps, butt taps, or hard hitting. No bayonets or melee weapons attached to blasters. There is no standard shield size. If it isn't declared fair or safe, it will not be allowed. Melee users and shield users will be limited in an attempt to keep the game balanced if there are too many on either side. And now for specifically melee. Melee users can use both melee and a shield. Melee users can use throwables. Melee users wanting to also run a blaster must pass the blaster through a moderator to deem it fair. Melee users can only be tagged by medium or heavy ammo. Melee users cannot block medium or heavy ammo. If they are hit, they must call the tag and respawn as the game mode requires. And then specifically for our own game mode called Medic, medics are not allowed to use melee. And finally, getting into the shield user specific rules. Shields can be used with a blaster but must pass the blaster through a moderator to deem it fair. Shields can block light ammo but are pierced by medium ammo and are busted by heavy ammo. If hit by medium ammo, the player must respawn as the game mode requires. If hit by heavy ammo, the player must respawn as the game mode requires and is not allowed to use the shield for the rest of the game or round. Throwables can also bust shields. Shield users can use throwables, and medics can also not use shields. Hopefully I was able to word that in a way that makes sense. If not, then you can go ahead and ask questions down in the comments. Now we're going to get into what qualifies as light, medium, and heavy ammo. Light ammo is the standard. It includes full-length darts, short darts, and rifle balls, all of which can be blocked by a shield. Next, think of medium ammo as your armor-piercing round. If it hits a shield, it'll count as a tag. This includes vintage ammo, mega darts, vortex discs, and ultra darts. And then the big kahunas, the heavy ammo. This includes Demolisher rockets, Mega XL, Titan missiles, and of course throwables. If you're running a shield and any sort of heavy ammo hits your shield, then you must drop the shield and can no longer use it for the rest of the round, and you of course are tagged and have to respawn as that game mode requires. Drain blasters, super soakers, milsig blasters, and 40 mat shells are all not allowed. Titans you can only use if it fires Titan rockets only. You of course can use shell-fed blasters. I'll probably be running the micro double shot at this event, but you are fully responsible for picking up the shells that you use. And then briefly going back to shields and melee, we are only allowing any shields that have been provided or any shield from Enforce, for example. There's the Stonewall shield. If you have a custom shield, then you have to pass it by a moderator to deem it fair, and we are exclusively denying the use of any deployable shield or cover. Melee weapons are in the same vein where you can only use what is provided or you can use official Enforce melee weapons. And then as for throwables, we are only allowing sock bombs or the Z-Bomb official Nerf Hasbro throwable thingies. And the last thing we're going to be talking about is the game modes that we're hoping to run at this event. But before we get to that, I of course want to go over the honor system. Now, we luckily didn't have any problems with it last year, but just in case, I want to mention it again, that if you are tagged, you are expected to call your tag. I'm pretty sure I said something similar in the last video, but in a game where it doesn't really matter if you win or lose, if you don't think that you got hit but someone is saying you did, it's always easier to just call the hit. And if you notice a player is not calling their tags consistently, let a moderator know and they will handle it. Remember to exercise good judgment. We're all here to just have some fair, safe fun. And now we have the list of games to look at, which is pretty similar to the last event, but we're still going to go over it just in case. So starting off, we have Brain Drain, or if you play a lot of Call of Duty, you're probably familiar with it more as Team Deathmatch. It's very simple. When you're tagged, you simply go back to your spawn, hit the clicker that is set there, and then jump back into the game. The game ends when one team's clicker hits 25, with the option for a final push to 30 if both teams agree and the score is close enough. I should also of course mention that in Brain Drain you have infinite respawns. And then very similar is Awfuls, which is basically Brain Drain but with bad blasters. No blaster used in this game can hit over 100 FPS. If you want to, you can use a modded blaster, but it just can't hit over that 100 FPS mark for this game mode specifically. We are also not going to be allowing any rival, shields, or melee for this game. And just like Brain Drain, when your clicker hits 25, the game ends with the option for that final push. Up next is, if there's enough people, we have a game called Medic. And now this is one of our more complicated game modes, so much so that I am seeming to have a hard time describing it, at least to myself. I feel like it's actually not that complicated, but explaining it out is a bit hard, and I feel playing it makes more sense than actually explaining it. So just to be safe, I'm going to read what I have written down verbatim, and hopefully that makes sense more than the things that I've tried to say before. Each team has one or more medics identified by a pink bandana. Players have infinite respawns but can't get back into the game until a medic can place a hand on them. When tagged, you take a knee and wait. The medic has 3 lives, represented by pink poker chips. When a medic is tagged, they go back to spawn and drop off a poker chip. When the team's medic runs out of lives, they lose. Protect your medic. This is the game mode that we weren't able to play at the last event because we didn't have enough people. So I'm really hoping we get enough people to play this one because I want to see how it goes on the field. Then that way I can see if it actually is that complicated. And then finally we have Hardcore Free-For-All. There are no respawns. Every player gets 1 life, and when you're hit, you're out. If we have time, we may try to do a team version of this, but otherwise it's the last person standing wins. And then we also have a modifier listed called Wild West, where it just makes it to where you can only use pistols for that game. And as of right now, that's all I really have to cover for the event. Remember, the date of the event is January 11th, 2025 from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. with a lunch break from 2:30 to 3:30, check-ins at 11:30, and hopefully the first game around 12:15. This event takes place at Mansfield Heights Park at 431 Mesa Verde Avenue, Palmdale, California, zip code 93551. And if I haven't said it enough, I really do hope that you read the event details down below, and I also hope that you RSVP. We're doing an RSVP this time around to try to get a gauge of how many people are going to show up. If you don't RSVP, it's not the end of the world, but it helps us a lot if you do. So read the details, RSVP, and I hope to see you guys there. To stay up to date on any event information as we get closer to the event date, make sure to follow us on Instagram and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, be sure to share this video around with those you think might be interested so we can help Foam of Fortune and help the Foam Battalion grow. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you at Foam of Fortune 2. Get ready for some shield blasting fun, and I will see you guys next time.